So Canelo Alvarez is put on blast by Jake Paul in a very interesting way. Let's talk about that and what he said and what he revealed that makes Canelo sound like an idiot. But first, if you're new here, thank you for stopping in and choosing this video. And if you're a long-time subscriber, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Please support me more. My numbers have been abysmal lately. Lord have mercy. Please help me out. But let's talk about this and what Jake Paul revealed. That makes Canelo look like a moron in certain aspects. So now we know from the Turkey Al-Sheikh ESPN interview that basically the way it went down is he had a 3-fight deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. That 3-fight deal. Hold on, let me set this down. Let me set this down so I can sarcasm served daily. Hold on, guys. Oh, Lord. Let me do this. Okay, so it was a 3-fight deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. It was never a 4-fight deal. That's number one. And everything was agreed to. The May date was not part of that deal whatsoever. It was not part of the deal. The one in 2025 and 2 in 2026, that was the Turkey deal. Canelo wanted a fight for May 6th outside of that deal. That would have been the 4th fight, right? But it's not part of the Turkey deal. So he kept looking. Somehow, some way, he ended up in talks with Jake Paul. Supposedly, they were into deep negotiations. Turkey said, my brother, I don't care what you do in May, just make it a big fight, because if you don't, it'll take away from the Terence Crawford fight. Because Turkey doesn't believe in these type of fights. He calls them shows, not boxing events. Okay, cool, we're there. We understand where we are now, how both parties stand. So then he goes ahead and he tells, he hears in the last 48 hours when this was happening, that there's rumors that Canelo's negotiating with Jake Paul. Once it was kind of made reality, Turkey said, nah, we good. You can go on. You're going to fight Jake Paul, then the Terence Crawford fight is off because it hurts that fight. I'm trying to build to that fight. I'm trying to build momentum into that fight. And if you're going to fight a YouTuber, it's not going to go that way. It's just going to be like, well, now you're cherry picking. And then what does that prove? Like, he just sees it as a negative at the end of the day. So then I think the story spiraled out of control, and then Turkey rescinds the deal. Canelo says F you in a sense, not F you obviously, but something to that effect. But I guess according to Turkey Al-Sheikh, Canelo kind of has a change of heart, change of mind, change of pace, and says, you know what, maybe you're right, this is not going to go well. So he goes ahead and stops negotiations with Jake Paul, goes back to Turkey and says, well, listen, all right, that means the deal is good with Turkey. That's number one. Number two, he says, listen, okay, I hear you, but what am I going to do in May? So Turkey said, I'll do the fight with you in May too. But he didn't add or change the deal, so I don't understand. I guess he just needed help finding an opponent. He said that he didn't have to change the money. It was all about the fight. And I guess, I don't know. How can Canelo not find a fight? I don't know. I find that kind of weird. But anyway, so then that gets squared away. Canelo stops the negotiations and goes to Turkey. So then now you see MVP pissed, saying that these dictator type new promoters, whatever, blah blah blah, are interfering, they have no integrity, whatever. We saw that part. Now, Canelo drops a video saying, you know, hey, I don't fight YouTubers, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I fight 3 real fighters in my last fight, whatever he says. That didn't go well for Canelo, because then Jake Paul goes in his Maybach and says, okay.
Oh, Canelo, you puta.
And this fucking YouTuber, I just fight
real fighters.
Time to expose them. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you could see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you bitch. The truth is, you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is, these sports-washing shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you. Al Heyman has made you hundreds of millions of dollars and you turned your back on him for this check. Disloyal. And you were begging to do this fight on pay-per-view. But I have loyalty. Loyalty to Netflix, doing the biggest numbers. And you call me a YouTuber, but you've never had a boxing match as big as mine. Remember you told my team that your daughter came home and asked if you were fighting Jake Paul? She was all excited. You said that was the first time your daughter's ever asked you about a fight. And you're screwing over all your Mexican fans by doing your fights in Saudi. It just shows what type of person you are. And I promise you one thing, Canelo. Any fight that you do this year, mine will be bigger. So go fuck off to your boss, you Ring Magazine employee, you pink and orange bitch. And oh, fix that herpes on your lip, you dirty puta.
Cool. You don't fight YouTubers, but this is a signed contract for us to fight. Here's the poster, and on top of that, it was supposed to be announced on February 11th, and here is your signature to fight me with my signature there, so you basically pull out of the fight. So I guess it was a clause where Canelo or Jake could pull out of the fight before, I guess, a certain amount of time without any penalties. And that's what, I guess, Canelo reconsidered and did that. He calls Canelo all kinds of shit. Puta, you pink and orange bitch, you herpes riddled motherfucker. You know, like, he goes in. But he even said, "There's no. I have loyalty. You, Al made you millions. You turn your back on them for a paycheck. I'm loyal to Netflix to bring them the best and biggest fight. So I'm gonna stick with Netflix. They had to be on Netflix." And he said, "And ain't no fight you doing with anyone that's gonna be bigger than me." And I hate to admit it, but he might be right. He might be right. He might be right that might be the biggest fight that he has. Monetarily, you know, crossover fight. So then he says, "Go ahead, bitch, do what you need to do, you slave, and do whatever, you know, whatever." If that fight would have happened with Jake Paul and still the Terence Crawford fight would have happened, I guarantee you that more viewers would have been, more eyes would have been at Crawford, Jake Paul versus Canelo than Crawford, Canelo. Not only more viewers, but you would have had a spike in Netflix subscribership just for that fight. And at, let's say, $17, let's say if they would have got 5 million more people to subscribe, just to watch the fight. It could happen, because a lot of people they drop the subscriptions and they come back and want to see something. They sign back up. And technically, that's a fight that, let's say, hey, pay-per-view wise, if you think of it as a pay-per-view, I can sign up for another $17 and get that fight and all the undercard, and then after that, watch a couple more weeks for a week, and then drop it for that month, and then drop it. That's a win-win. I think he's right. I don't think he's gonna find another fight bigger than Jake Paul. But legacy-wise, it's shit. He said, "Oh, by the way, you're not gonna fight a YouTuber." That's what he said also. You say you wouldn't, but there you are signing to fight me. But you're fighting a 135-pounder. You know, because Bud came up 135, 140, 147, 154. Technically, he's not a 135 fighter. He's a 154 fighter now. Barely, because he barely got through Madrimov. So, this is where we are now. It'll be interesting to see if Netflix can gain a foothold, how Netflix navigates and impacts boxing and premium boxing and Turkey Al Sheikh. I see how the Zone has all the promoters, but I'm wondering as time goes on, because Netflix puts a lot of money into these movies that they make. If fighters start hearing Netflix is willing to put in a lot of money to fight, I think if they can entice little like up and coming superstars that have yet to make big money but they want to invest in their stock, I think that would be the move. Like the Carmel Motons, things like that of the world that are coming up now that are 18, 17, 18, 19. I think that's where the money's at. I think if they can get those kids in there and build them up, I think that they could have something. But it'd be interesting. It's getting interesting now. So I'm wanting to see. But that's what the crux of the argument was. That's what happened. I just think it's all interesting. But let me know down below, what do you think? Is Jake Paul right that he wouldn't have a bigger fight with anybody else except him, and that he's a bitch for running that from him, or that he ducked him, and he also ducked Benavidez, and that's his other bigger fight? Or do you think he did the right move? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'm out. Peace.